Alright girls, we are here at Exit Glacier. You might have already seen the last video I posted. We're going to the outwash plain, which is the area below the glacier where the glacier's already receded and left a bunch of cool rocks. Let's go see if we can find some cool rocks, alright? And this glacier is about 25 miles outside of Seward. Because the glacier's about 25 miles outside of Seward, that's why you see all the ferns and things. This is a coastal area. The mountains in the middle of the coastal area. Ah, cool. So this entire valley, see these moraines, these little hills here. These are deposits left by the glacier. And this silt, it looks like dust. It's all over everything. This silt is ground up rock. It's just got ground. It's like rocks put in a blender, but like underneath the glacier. And you'll see them. I'll get down so you can see them better, but you'll see a bunch of really smooth stones. And it looks like the geology of this area here is more, as opposed to other areas we've seen, this more shale, and it's still basalt or like igneous rock, but it's a little bit different, forms a little differently, so it looks more like shale, more flat. Those flat ones there. Let's see if I can find some good examples. What you see right here, see this boulder right here? You can see it pretty well over there too. Well, you'll see a few different lines. See these horizontal lines over here. These grooves. See these grooves in the rock right here? I'll get closer. What the heck? Alright. These grooves right here. Like that and that. And these big grooves right here. These big horizontal lines. Those are rocks, like these rocks. See, like these rocks that were ground. As the glacier retreated or moved, either way, these rocks were just scratched along the surface of this big rock. And those grooves happened, and it took out chunks of the rock and made these grooves. And what happens is when these grooves come through, it can weaken the rock. And then these lines, these cracks will form in the rock. And then as water, as these rocks break up and they dissolved and they're washed away, the individual elements in them are held in the water in suspension, and the water gets into these cracks. And these cracks specifically, it's quartz. These are quartz veins. You see all this white? This is quartz that gradually over hundreds, thousands, millions of years builds up in these big rock faces. And quartz is what agate is made of. Here we go. This is a quartz. It's a big quartz, and you've got some iron and it's basalt. See these big quartz crystals? They're shiny. That is silicon dioxide, SiO2, also known as quartz. And quartz, you know it as something that we all use, is also very similar to glass. It's silica, made of silica. Silica is an element. It's on the periodic table. It's Si. And silica has lots of purposes. I believe it's one of the more prevalent elements after carbon and hydrogen. It's right up there. So you've got all these cool rocks, and then you've got moss that tends to grow. You can even see a little tree, I think that's a spruce, that's trying to grow there in the crack. Because we're so high up in altitude, well, not really, so we're in the mountains, there's not a lot of dirt, there's a lot of rock. So these trees and stuff, they find whatever they can to grow. It's not easy, but they make it work. And that is a lot like life. Life isn't easy. Sometimes to do the good things, do the things that matter, are the hardest things to do. They're more difficult. That's why we do hard things. Why we do difficult things. There's just another quartz there. See if we can't find a really cool rock. Anyway, so we do hard things. We do difficult things because those difficult things are usually lead us to the best things. This is what's called an outwash plain. You see all these, like I said, all these little hills. These are all moraines. And moraine is a deposit. It's a hill of all this. Look at this. These little rocks. All these tiny rocks. Used to be these big rocks. And they got ground down to nothing. And then rocks like that get ground down to sand. And then sand has those elements, and eventually sand will become finer and finer material, and then it can eventually precipitate into larger rocks, and this cycle goes on and on. Let's see if we can get a better view of the glacier. That'd be fun. Oh yeah, all right, here. Let's go to the outwash, further into the plain here. I haven't seen any agate out here. Although, no, it's not agate, but it is cool. Lots of quartz. That's a really cool one. Here we go. You see this silt? Looks like sand. It's just powdered rock. It's all over everything. Pretty dirty. Here we go. And it's in these kind of areas that the miners, gold rush and the prospectors would look for gold, because these heavier elements like gold and silver and copper and lead and what have you, they come from areas like this. They're not come from, but they're higher concentration in areas like this. This is how nature works. Oh, that looks like black sand. That's pretty cool. Sand, just rock. And there's the glacier. This is called Exit Glacier. And we'll take you here. It's pretty cool. I don't want to go all the way up the valley because fortunately these glaciers are prone to flooding, and they can flood it at any moment's notice. So I'm kind of staying on the trail area down here where people hang out. But you see that glacier up there? Exit Glacier goes up, and then there's Harding Ice Field behind it. And Harding Ice Field is, I believe it's the ice field that feeds a lot of the glaciers in Kenai Glacier, Kenai Fjords National Park. And all these fjords, and a fjord is when a glacier carves out a valley like this, and then it fills with water, usually seawater. Isn't that cool? And you can see, if you look into the glacier there, you can see some fissures. You can see, you can't see the toe of the glacier, but you can see where it's dirty. You can see where some of the rock has fallen onto it, and some of the dust is blown onto it. Oh man, glaciers are my favorite. I love them. Well, I am going to wash my hand off in the glacial silt water. Ooh, that is cold. Man, If I had brought my water filter, I maybe would have tried to drink some, but I didn't, so I won't. So that's it for today, I think. We'll just go ahead and call that good. Remember, girls, I think you're awesome, smart, and beautiful. And I love you. Until next time.